JSE, let's connect.
Foreign exchange derivatives have been in existence for more than 40 years. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange launched its own currency derivatives platform in June 2007, which allowed for the on-exchange trading of currency futures and options. Joining me now is Elaine Mabiletsa from the JSE. Elaine, how can farmers use currency derivatives for their businesses, and how would this be beneficial to them?
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me here today. So the JSE offers two main types of currency derivatives which farmers can use to hedge their foreign exchange or exchange rate risk. These are namely your futures and your options. So your futures would allow our farmers to lock in an exchange rate today for a value date sometime in the future, where options will give them the ability to choose whether they want to buy or sell a futures contract at some point in the future, depending on where the underlying spot rate is at that time in the future. So the benefits that a farmer would have from using the listed currency derivatives is they have the flexibility of choosing their own expiry date through the use of our any-day currency products, and this is available in both our futures and our options. The other great benefit is there is no paperwork required, as listed derivatives are cash settled, which means they also don't affect your offshore allowance with the Reserve Bank. Another great thing is if you do hedge yourself and the currency ends up moving in your favor, you have the ability to exit your hedge without any penalties. But most importantly, anytime you transact on listed currency futures, there is complete transparency in that all our prices are visible on the JSE website.
And how suitable are currency derivatives to farmers or business owners in the agricultural sector?
So Lisa, with South Africa being a net food exporter, derivatives are not only suitable for use as hedging instruments, but they are necessary. I mean, in the long term, exchange rate fluctuations will affect the investment and production costs, as well as the commodity prices, and this ultimately affects farmers' bottom lines or profits. Now, as a large amount of goods and services or inputs such as your machinery that farmers use are imported, exchange rates will also affect those costs. So the JSE's currency derivatives market has been in existence since 2007. One of the main objectives of establishing this market was to give farmers the protection and sometimes the ability to eliminate exchange rate risk that they endure on a day-to-day basis in their businesses. So yes, not only are currency derivatives suitable for farmers and people in the agricultural sector, but they are a necessary risk management tool.
If a person wants to trade, how do they gain access to trading currency derivatives at the JSE?
In order to trade listed derivatives, you need to trade through one of our registered currency derivatives members. A very comprehensive list of all the members that we currently have registered is available on our website. Alternatively, you can get in touch with our customer support center, who would give you a list of all the members we have, as well as in which region they're in, depending on your preference of where you'd like to trade. Now, I'd like to emphasize on this point, Lisa, that the JSE does not give or sell trading platforms for the FX market. The only way to access trading of any of our listed products is through one of our registered member firms.
Is there a required amount of money you need to start trading?
Lisa, one of the important things that I think our viewers need to be aware of at this point is when you decide to start trading, you need to be very clear around the objectives behind why you're doing it, as that will have a direct impact on what your overall costs would be to do it. So if you're doing it for the purposes of hedging or speculating, or perhaps if you want to arbitrage, it will be very different based on that. In the instance of farmers using it for hedging purposes, for instance, they would have to do an assessment of the amount of risk that they want to cover. Say, for instance, that you have a $100,000 exposure that you'd like to cover. So you can either do that by entering into one of our maxi contracts, which is $100,000 in size, or trading some of our $1,000 sized contracts. But The outlay that would be required from a JSE perspective is your booking fees when you first enter into these contracts. But we also have a deposit, which is in essence a deposit of good faith that is required for our members, which is called a margin requirement. At this point, that is about 6.7% of your exposure. So staying with the example that I used of $100,000, currently for hedging that amount of dollar risk, you would only need to put an outlay of 100,000 Rand to ensure that you are guaranteed settlement on the expiry of your contract or when you need to exit that contract. But this deposit that you do place with the JSE, in as much as it comes to the JSE through your registered member, the JSE invests all these deposits that it receives, and on the expiry of your contract, you not only get back the deposit or the money that is being held in honor of the hedge that you have in place, but you will get that back as well as the interest that you might have earned on it while it was with the JSE throughout the life of your contracts.
Where can people find out more about the products offered in this market?
For more information, you can go onto the JSE's website, which is www.jse.co.za. You can contact us directly via email at info@jse.co.za, or once you have gotten access of who one of our registered brokers are, they will be more than happy to share more details with you about the JSE's offerings, and will also be able to give you more information around how you can specifically use listed currency derivatives to suit your specific business needs.
Thanks to Elaine Mabiletsa from the JSE.
JSE, let's connect.